All right, good evening, everyone. This is Charlene Savage, and I'm coming to you live from Brisbane in Queensland of Australia. Welcome to this webinar, and I'm here to share with you the blockchain and Bitcoin basics education class. So thank you for joining me here this evening. And so a little bit about myself. Why should you listen to me? I've been involved in 12 years of corporate sales management, New Zealand, across New Zealand and Australia, and also in global recruitment. I am currently a full-time online and offline entrepreneur, mentor, and trainer. I also am a published author of my book called The Influence of One, and I'm in the midst of actually writing my second book. And I'm also a cryptocurrency entrepreneur and blockchain enthusiast, which is what brings me here to you today and tonight. So I have just commenced my Blockchain Institute of Technology certifications. I'm finding it extremely interesting, and as I learn, I implement, and I'm here to share it. I've also graduated in pastoral leadership at Hillsong Bible College in 2015. I have my own ministry, which exists to serve a world full of desperate need, and the reason why I got involved in Bitcoin and blockchain. And I'm also a top leader in a global marketing group and about 1,660 members. So before we get started, I just wanted to, share a disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor, okay? I'm a crypto enthusiast who wants to share a lot of information about, some analysis that we have in the industry, some learnings, my opinions on how to understand the blockchain, and potentially lead you to make better informed decisions on how to profit in cryptocurrency. So feel free to do your own due diligence and consult a legal expert if you need to. So today I will cover these points here. What is a blockchain? We're going to discover what is Bitcoin. Also going to cover some historical data on why Bitcoin is the highest leverage on the planet, and what the experts say about Bitcoin. Again, I'm not an expert, I'm a crypto enthusiast, but let's see what the experts say. We're also going to cover the role of Bitcoin miners on the Bitcoin blockchain, and I'm going to show you a live Bitcoin blockchain demonstration as well. And we're also going to finish off with how you can profit from Bitcoin. And so, the blockchain. What is a blockchain? Having accurate information and a way to verify the sources of things when you are dealing with transactions or things that are of value is essential. You need reliable systems that you can trust. A world full of, we have internet fraud, malware, etc. How can you trust the source of the information that you are getting? And the answer is tied in a technology called the blockchain. And blockchain can provide a single source of truth that's verifiable, that's tamper-proof, and unchangeable. So what is a blockchain? Quite simply, a blockchain is a constantly growing ledger that keeps a permanent record of all the transactions that have taken place in a secure, chronological, and immutable way. So blockchain is a ledger, and quite simply, it's a file. That's all it is. Okay, it's constantly growing, it keeps track of all transactions, and it's permanent. Once it goes in, you can't take it out. Okay, it's also secure. It uses advanced cryptography to make sure that it's locked inside the blockchain. It's also chronological, and every transaction that happens happens after the previous one. And it's also immutable. So what does that mean? As you build out all these transactions onto the blockchain, this ledger can never be changed. That is the power of blockchain. So what is Bitcoin? Now Bitcoin, it was the first transaction was in January 3rd of 2009. And this was the birth of Bitcoin. the very first transaction, which is known as the Genesis block. And in October 31st of 2008, a gentleman by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto, he published the white paper for Bitcoin. And this was when the first transaction was in January 3rd, 2009, the Genesis block. So Bitcoin is a type of digital asset that can be bought, sold, or transferred between parties securely over the internet. So Bitcoin, it also serves as a digital currency, and you can use it to buy goods and services and make payments. It's a payment system, right? So the likes of dollars or euros, they're a bit different, right? But there are no physical coins or bills. With Bitcoin, you don't need to use a bank, a credit card, or any other type of clearinghouse. And so you can send Bitcoin to another party over the internet, and it will arrive almost instantly. And so what I'm going to show you now is the history and the future of Bitcoin. Where is Bitcoin going? Why is the timing better than the early days? Well, here's some historical corrections and from where Bitcoin was back in 2012. Just make that so you can see it. 2012 through to the date today. So as you can see here, we've got some fluctuations, right? And so the green column is what is known as the bull column. A lot of people talk about the bull run. They talk about the bull market. And what this is, it simply means that Bitcoin's at an all-time high, okay? And the yellow column, it represents the bear market. I actually quite like, how they actually describe those industries. And so you've got the Bitcoin bear price, and this is what we're going to focus on, which is the low, right? And so in January 2012, you saw that Bitcoin, the bear price was at $3.80. Okay, so it had a decline of 49% from $7.38. And so what had happened was over time, we had the largest fluctuation, which was negative 87%. That was around November 2013 to January 2015. There was 411 days of correction in that. So it went from 1163 and it dropped all the way down to $152.40. Now that would have discouraged a lot of people. They decided to leave their Bitcoin. They decided to sell out, and so they probably wished they had it. Because what happened shortly after that was that it regained its threshold, and then it doubled, and then it doubled again, and then it doubled again. So as you can see that over time, this is kind of the pattern and kind of the trend of how Bitcoin sort of flows, right? So it regains threshold, it doubles, it regains, it drops, it doubles, and so on. And so you may have seen here in the December 2014, we had, it hit an all-time high of 19,666. Now, that was really exciting times. I remember that very clearly, very vividly. However, it wasn't really real. It was more by market interest rather than market true value. Okay, and so then it eased back to 9,000, and then now it's comfortably hovering around the 6,000 to 7,000 US dollar mark, which is where we want it to be. And so, in summary, this is the phenomenon, right? So people are talking about, have you recovered from Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin recovered yet? Recovered from exactly what is the question. So as you can see here, we have a 210,000% growth from January 2012. Remember, I said it was $3.80 in the bear column. So, and then it has risen to, in August 2018, to 7,100. So if you were to purchase 10 Bitcoin at that time, I remember that time very clearly. I moved across from New Zealand, from Australia, moved across from New Zealand here to Australia, and it was very hot. I wish I had some Bitcoin at the time. I wish I purchased some Bitcoin at the time, but I didn't. So 10 Bitcoin would have cost you $38. Amazing. But today, if you were to purchase 10 Bitcoin, it would cost you $71,000. Now that's a lot of money, right? And so this is a new version of success. So Bitcoin, I'm going to show you how it's completely destroyed all conventional vehicles and indices globally by a very large margin. So here we have it. These are conventional medians, which I'm going to share with you today. So you saw the 210,000% growth over the last 6 years, right? So against the US dollar, it's losing 50% over the past 6 to 8 years. And so it's a losing commodity. Then you have stocks where only 24% of people actually make money. And if they do make money, they'll be lucky to make around 5 to 10% a year. 10% if they are very experienced and very knowledgeable and very skilled in what they do, or they hold a multi-million-dollar portfolio. Then you've got Forex. This is trading. This is very difficult to learn. The statistics are shocking. We've only got 4% of traders actually make money, right? And so they're lucky to make around 10 to 30% a year. Everyone seems to be doing trading these days. Now, you know, again, this is kind of the ROI on the trading, but it's very difficult to learn. A lot of people are getting involved in robo traders as well. And in terms of long-term wealth and long-term retirement, it probably won't get you too far. And then you have gold, which is a fantastic commodity to back up fiat currency, but at 1.9% a year, it's looking pretty sad. So you're going to need a heck of a lot of gold to actually make some form of monthly income as well as a long-term retirement income. And then you have real estate coming in at 5% a year, and also annuities and mutual funds at 5% a year. And here comes Bitcoin at 210,000% over the last 6 years. So if anyone says to you that Bitcoin's dropping off or Bitcoin's, that it's dropped off, it's very much the opposite, as I showed you previously. And so, like I mentioned in the itinerary to start off with, you know, I'm not an expert, but these guys are. They're the world's most wealthiest men. And so Tom Lee, he's the #1 Wall Street strategist. He puts Bitcoin at 25,000 by 2019, and he's the lowest of all these predictions. Then we've got Kayvan Peterson, who's from Saxo Bank. He's very well known as the man who never misses the mark, or he's never missed a prediction. And he's actually put Bitcoin at $100,000 by next year. I'll be happy even if he's 20% right. Then we've got Tim Draper. And Tim Draper, he's a multi-billionaire investor. He owns Draper University, and that teaches about Bitcoin blockchain and Bitcoin itself and cryptocurrency. He's also heavily invested in the likes of Tesla, Skype, Baidu, and other Korean exchanges. And he's putting it at a healthy 250,000 by 2022. Then we have the famous Winklevoss brothers. They apparently won the lawsuit against Mark Zuckerberg because they founded Facebook, right? And so 65 million went into their hands, and they decided to invest 11 million of that into Gemini, one of the top 3 exchanges in the world. They put it at 350,000 at 2025. And then we have John McAfee of McAfee Antivirus. He puts it at 500,000 by the year 2025. Again, I mentioned here, these guarantees are not implied. This is not an income claim at all. It's simply just saying, this is what the experts are saying. And you can actually find it all on the internet as well. And so this is Bill Gates. He's the founder of Microsoft, and he's saying that Bitcoin is a radical new approach to the monetary systems. And then we have Steve Wozniak. Now, Steve Wozniak is the genius guy that helped started Apple, did all the maths behind the amazing brand. And he's saying that Bitcoin is going to be better than gold and the US dollar. And he hopes that Bitcoin becomes the world's most single currency. Why is that? Because 1, it's very difficult to manipulate. 2, it's transparent. And 3, it's decentralized. What does decentralized mean? Decentralized means that there's no central control. There's no management in the middle that tells Bitcoin what to do. And as a result, there's no central point of failure. And so there's no centralized authority, overseen what Bitcoin does. And then we have this guy here. His name is Michael A. Robinson. He's the #1 tech investor in Silicon Valley. And, he was nominated for the Pulitzer Prize, and he has a plethora of knowledge of the industry and invested in military technology, robotic technology, and many, many other things that has made a lot of money. And he's saying that cryptocurrency is a level playing field and, is the biggest opportunity of our lifetime. I believe he switched 90% of his focus completely into cryptocurrency. He's got a show called Money Morning, and he gives a lot of information, a lot of value to the market. And I believe he's about to launch a new Bitcoin tool that's going to be very transferable. So watch this space. This man is about to bring something very, very big into the industry. And here we have Michael Novogratz. He's worth around $3.2 billion. He's a former partner of Goldman Sachs, and he predicts that the cryptocurrency industry will be $5 trillion by 2022. And he owns a whopping 42,000 Bitcoin. And here we have Ronnie Moaz. Ronnie Moaz is the founder and the director of Standpoint. Standpoint is the most prestigious, important financial research company in the world. Everyone goes there. So you've got Yahoo Finance, you've got Bloomberg, you've got Goldman Sachs. They all go to him because his predictions are pretty, most of the time, almost on point. So he's saying that the total value of all cryptographic assets will soar to several trillion. And some more iconic investors, Mark Cuban invests in practically, he's everywhere. He's invested 20 million in crypto. He believes it'll, bring about the very first trillionaire in this industry, along with artificial intelligence. We all know Richard Branson. He's invested millions in cryptocurrency. Then you've got Bill Gates. He's one of the largest. Yep, Connie.
Yep, you're stuck on Wozniak.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Can you see it now?
No, you're still stuck on Wozniak.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, let me just stop sharing and I'll share it again. Thank you for letting me know, Connie. Okay, can you see my screen now?
It's just blank at the moment.
Right.
Can you log out and come back in? We're still sitting here.
I'll just try something else. Bear with me, my friends. You got to love technology.
Yep.
See, if I leave, then it will end the meeting, and I don't want to end the meeting. So what I would do, if it's okay with you guys, I can talk through it.
Yep.
I'll try sharing intermittently every now and then. I'm sharing my screen now. What do you see?
Okay, I've got Michael Novogratz on screen now.
Okay, great. Excellent. That's the screen that I have. Okay, so let's just carry on. Praise God. Okay, and so this is Michael Novogratz. I spoke about him having 42,000 Bitcoin, lucky man. And Ronnie Moaz covered him and these iconic investors as well. Okay, now I'm praying that this is going to work because I'm actually going to share my screen, okay, and I'm going to go into the blockchain. Now I'm going to explain to you, the role of Bitcoin miners. Our role is to process and confirm transactions. Okay, that's what we do. We use powerful Bitcoin mining computers that are specifically designed to mine Bitcoin transactions. So, okay, I might get a little bit technical here, but bear with me. We solve math problems and we resolve cryptography issues because every one of these transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain, they need to be encoded and they need to be secured by these mathematical problems that actually ensures that no one is tampering with that data. So additionally, for this task as a miner, you get rewarded and you get paid in Bitcoin, which is a key component in Bitcoin. And so money in Bitcoin is not created like you create normal fiat currency, right? The US has dollars. All of those are created by central banks. And Bitcoin is created by rewarding these miners for their work. So Bitcoin miners actually have a very, very important role. So the role of a Bitcoin miner is to build the blockchain of records that form the Bitcoin ledger. And so I'm going to go there now. Let me pull that up. Okay, so here we have it. So you can find this. Everyone, this is not one of my business websites. This is the live public ledger. You can go there yourself, www.blockchain.com/pools. Okay, and so here we have it. And so this is what we call the wheel of miners. And so, like I mentioned before, the role of a miner is to build the blockchain of records, right? And so we mine blocks to be able to generate and create the blockchain for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, as I mentioned, and in cryptocurrency, cryptography is a key component. And so as you can see here, there's a few pools here that look sort of anonymous. The large pools are a monopoly. They're basically owned by the Chinese, and a lot of these are cloud mining. What does that mean? It means that these companies here, they rent out their servers or their mining machines to hundreds and thousands of people in the Orient or wherever, and what they do is they run these loud, noisy mining machines in the back of their restaurants, in the back of their laundromats, and their basements, and it requires a lot of energy to actually run efficiently. And so they have some large capacity here on the blockchain. And however, you see these smaller pools here. Now, the one I'm actually going to focus on is one that I'm involved with, is the Bitclub Network. And as you can see, it owns 2.4% of the blockchain. Now, my friends, if you've been involved in Bitcoin for some time and you've had people approach you about a mining company or Bitcoin opportunity, if it is not on the Bitcoin blockchain, it is highly likely to be a Ponzi or a scam. This is one sure way to verify and to get true documentation and transparency from this website. This is real time, my friends, okay? So let's look a little bit deeper into how this all works. So here we have, these are known blocks. So if you were to just scroll down, you'll be able to see a little bit more in depth as to how these blocks are generated. And so here we have Bitclub Network. So I'm going to click on that. And so these are the recent blocks found by this company, right? And so this is what happens. Every 10 minutes on the Bitcoin blockchain, a new cryptography challenge is issued to all the miners. Remember, we as miners, we have a role to play, and that is to solve a challenge. And so the challenge is issued, the miners are involved, and they run the hardware, they run the machines, thousands of computers all around the world, and it's practically a race, okay? So it's like a race to solve the challenge. And the one who solves it first wins the race. And so what happens there, they secure 12.5 Bitcoin. So if I were to click on this specific block here, that hash with all the zeros there at the front of it, by the way, that represents the mining difficulty. Okay, that's the mining difficulty. So if you ever wanted to know what that is, that's how difficult it was to mine that block. And so if you look over here, you see this is block number 543128. And the number of transactions to solve this block was 1,471. And you can see all the data here. This is real time. You've even got the time of the transaction, the timestamp, when it was relayed by, and so on, the difficulty rate here. And if you just see here, you'll see the top transaction is rewarded. And so this is what we call the reward, which is also called the Coinbase transaction. You may have heard Coinbase before. Yes, it's an exchange as well, very popular exchange. That's where it got the name from this Coinbase transaction. And so here you've got 12.64722 so on Bitcoin. So I mentioned before, every time a miner secures a block, they are rewarded 12.5 Bitcoin. Anything above that is a summary of all the transactions after that. So you can even go a little bit deeper into this blockchain and click on this wallet, right? And so this is what we call transparency. So in this particular wallet, you'll be able to see the transactions, how much Bitcoins it's received, and how much they actually have sitting in this wallet today. So if I were to pull up my calculator, and we were to calculate 14,330 Bitcoin, right? And I think it's around 6,475 at the moment. That's US dollars. So this specific wallet alone has 92,786,750 worth of Bitcoin. Now, I don't know of any other company that will say, hey, come and check out my bank account. You know, I don't know of any bank that will allow you to have a look at their bank account, but this is what we call transparency. And this is one of the main reasons why I've chosen to mine with this company. Okay, so I really wanted to show you an example of how you can actually go into the blockchain. Again, this is real time. It's the public ledger. You can see what all these mining companies are doing and what they're doing as well. But one thing I wanted to point out to you is that these are all anonymous. We don't know who they are. It's impossible to be able to even mine with them, okay? And so Bitclub Network is the only one that's available to customers to be able to be a part of it. So that's one of the reasons why I got involved. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. So that is the role of the blockchain. Sorry, I'm actually going to go to CoinMarketCap while I'm here. Can you still see my screen, Connie? Cool, excellent. Okay, so here we have coinmarketcap.com. This will show you all of the top currencies, 100 currencies by market capitalization. This is available to the public as well. And so as you can see, Bitcoin is at number one. It has been for a very long time, and I believe it will stay there. It's the mothership. So here we have a market capitalization of 111 billion, 885 million, 798,947. I've always really wanted to say that number, and I just did it without getting tongue-tied. So that's the market cap. And here we have the price of Bitcoin is at 6,471 US, which is, it's stable, which is good. And this is really interesting. This is the volume of 4,359,000,000 that has actually passed hands or been exchanged from transferred all around the world in the last 24 hours. How do you like them apples? So if anyone actually says to you, hey, Bitcoin's, it's falling in price, it's dying off, well, it's very much alive when this type of volume is exchanging hands, especially in the last day. Then we have the circulating supply. This is interesting as well because Bitcoin, it has a cap, and Bitcoin can only mine 21 million Bitcoin. So we're almost at 17,300,000 Bitcoin, right? And so Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, every 4 years, he establishes what we call the Bitcoin halving date. So the next one is actually scheduled for the 24th of May in 2020. And remember the role of the miners, and their reward was 12.5 Bitcoin. Well, on 24th of May 2020, it's actually going to be halved. That reward will be 6.25 Bitcoin. So you've more or less got 2 years of super mining to go. So that's why everyone's really starting to get involved in mining on the blockchain. And so it's looking likely that the last Bitcoin will be mined in the year 2140. And I'm not sure of Most of us will be here. Our children's children may be here, but at least, we want to take care of them. That's why we want to own Bitcoin for their future. And so this is the change of Bitcoin. It's actually increased 0.39% the last 24 hours. And every time Bitcoin is in the green, everyone else follows suit. So that's another very good website for you to actually go and check out to verify what's happening with cryptocurrency, okay, and see all the other 99 currencies as well. So let me just pull up my slides again. And so, okay, what about market capitalization? Remember, I said that really huge number before. The reason why it's got a lot of usability is because you can actually spend it at all of these places. So I believe there are 147,000 retail chains. So millions of retail locations globally, through Google, Namecheap, Shopify, you can get an Uber, you can buy a Tesla, you can, I believe you can actually pay to go to the moon, I believe, with Virgin Galactic. So there's so many places you can actually use your Bitcoin as transactions. And so how do you profit with Bitcoin? Well, very simply, there are 3 ways to get Bitcoin ownership. One, you can either buy it. That'll cost you around $6,475 right now. Or you can mine it. I choose to mine it for many reasons. And you can also earn it. So those are 3 ways that you can get Bitcoin ownership. And so just a little bit of advice from some gurus in the industry. You may have heard of Grant Cardone. And, he's got this book, The 10X Rule, and it's just completely amazing. But he also talks a lot about middle class and a lot about, what the current economy is like. And he's saying that the 40,000, 60,000, middle class, he's saying that it's the most suppressed, restricted, and confined socioeconomic demographic in the world, where just enough is the reward. I mean, how many people do you know that are just struggling to live from paycheck to paycheck? They just, it's like a hamster wheel. They're working from 9 to 5. They're getting tired, and I've been there. And many of us who are probably on this call probably are still there. And so, even with a $60,000 salary paycheck, you're looking at $15,000 taxes, $40,000 in bills. And if you're very conservative, you could save maybe $5,000. It would take you 200 years to save $1 million. So today's middle class target should really be $250,000 a year, not $60,000. So this is what he says. Then you've got Warren Buffett. He talks about the wealthy, and his words are, they don't work by the hour. They leverage people and they leverage money and they make more than they need. They accumulate it and they compound. Okay, so he's just one of many people. You've got Robert Kiyosaki, who talks about good debt, bad debt, and so on. There's so many people out there, wealthy mentors out there who can share a lot of knowledge. So Bitcoin is the answer. Bitcoin has the muscle and the leverage you need. You've seen the fluctuations. You've seen the 210,000% growth in the last 6 years. And so what this is that every year it's been 3,500% each year. That's growth each year. And so what if Tim Draper is right? What if he is right? By the year 2022, it's only 4 years away from now. How many Bitcoin will you own? How many Bitcoin will you own? That is the question, but it is the muscle and leverage you need. So look at the data, look at the graph, look at the fluctuations, look at the history. And so this is your chance, my friends, to leverage, the most important value-bearing commodity of the 21st century. And so, in terms of the blockchain, I'm really passionate about it because I understand the value of blockchain and its importance in, providing stability, providing confirmations in our future economy. And also it has, obviously with the Bitcoin blockchain, it can show so much validation, so much transparency and verification. So if you'd like to know more about that and, be on path with what these experts are saying, please do, get in contact with me or the person that invited you here. And, we can show you some more validation, some more verification. We can also work with you, for some sort of plan. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but we do have, some tools and resources available that will be able to help you make an informed decision as to what may suit your needs right now. So you can look at an immediate income or a long-term income. And so, to finish off, I finished off on time tonight. I didn't want to go too longer than 40 minutes. These are the world's most wealthiest men, and they are saying that Bitcoin is going to $100,000 to $500,000. The question I have for you, my friends, is, are you coming? And so if you are, please reach out. I just want to say thank you for joining me this evening. I hope that was a nice, simple explanation of how you can actually understand the Bitcoin blockchain, how cool it is. It actually really is a cool thing, and how it can actually take you into the future and really adopting, what Bitcoin truly is, because at the heart of Bitcoin is the Bitcoin blockchain. And when you understand it, when you embrace it, it's going to change you and your family's life from here and forever. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And so reach out to the person who invited you here, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. Bye.